So hey guys, this is a quick stream just because of the uniqueness and importance of the situation that's happened in Moscow today with the drone attack on the Kremlin grounds. Just had a couple of thoughts that I feel are worth articulating about. So for people, I'm sure most of you are aware by now, there was a drone attack on the Kremlin, which is the heart of the Russian government, especially the Russian executive branch, namely Vladimir Putin's residency is the Grand Kremlin Palace within the Kremlin grounds in the central Moscow. So just going to play some footage that was captured of the attack itself, and then just some interesting things that I've picked up from it. So I'll just play this in full for you guys to catch now. So there's a small drone that hits this building within the Kremlin grounds. Just to sort of angle ourselves here, this is Lenin's mausoleum here. It is decorated up for Victory Day, which is 6 days away from date today and when this attack took place. So this is all of Red Square down here. Now, just pay attention. This drone comes across Red Square to hit what looks to be the flagpole of this building here. Why is this of note? Well, if we go to maps, this is central Moscow here. This is the building that was hit here, specifically this cupola, this dome. This is Lenin's mausoleum. This is one of the Kremlin walls. So this is this. That's Lenin's mausoleum. This is the dome of this building here. So the drone came from this direction, from seemingly just to the north of St. Basil's Cathedral, across Red Square to hit this building here. The interesting thing about this, it means it came from the east of Moscow. Ukraine is to the southwest, hundreds of miles to the southwest of Moscow. Pardon me. So, some very interesting things to take away from this, because this drone does not look especially big. The payload is not especially large. And the drone itself, you can go by these windows. You could sort of gauge the size of these windows from these individuals walking down here, or this individual walking on Red Square itself. Sort of gauge a bit from the size of the drone. The drone doesn't look much larger than a man, if even that. So, it's not an especially large drone. So if this thing came from Ukraine, it would have to have had the fuel endurance to cross the hundreds of miles, the ability to slip through, and this is with the caveat that Russian air defense has proven itself incredibly incompetent throughout this conflict many times over in very embarrassing ways, time and time again. But nonetheless, the Moscow air defense grid, you would imagine, would have a bit more competency to it. So if this drone did come from Ukraine, it'd have to cross through various layers of Russian air defense, approach to the east of the city potentially, and then maneuver around with a level of accuracy allowing it to reach into the Kremlin grounds itself. Or the running theory I sort of have at the moment is potentially this drone was actually deployed by, be it Ukrainian operatives, be it Russian quote-unquote insurgents, something of that ilk, to the east of the city in some of the large parks or the forested areas further beyond that to the east of Moscow. With that, it could fly especially low to the ground with a larger degree of accuracy, potentially largely avoiding most Russian air defense networks, radars, and batteries itself. If that is the case, then this would move it from being a complete fiasco on the part of the Moscow and Russian military air defense forces to potentially being a really big headache for the FSB and domestic Russian intelligence and law enforcement agencies that didn't pick up on this apparent potentially Ukrainian operative special forces group or Russian insurgents operating within the city or within Russia itself. The other thing is I don't think this is, as many people are parading as a targeted assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. Just to emphasize again, the payload does not look especially large. It looks to have physically hit that flagpole there in footage. Let's have a quick look and bring it up. In footage here, that flagpole is still standing, and it looks like this fire on the dome is more of the debris from the explosion that hit it. So the actual physical power of the drone itself does not seem to have been, pardon me, especially large. So unless they were looking to fly this drone through the very specific window that Vladimir Vladimirovich happened to have been behind in the room that he is in, I doubt this was a directed assassination attempt. Also, if it was and they did somehow achieve that, the doors it would open in regards to the Ukrainian presidential palace and Zelensky becoming a pretty obvious target for Russian military action, which is a bridge they have so far pretty much avoided since the beginning of the war, by and large. I think this is more just a gesture as it was, and I know that word is kind of a meme in these commentary circles and whenever we commentate on Russia and Ukraine, but hitting this building as opposed to the Grand Kremlin Palace, unless the drone was off course, unless Russian electronic warfare fiddled with it and loitered off course and then just happened to have hit this. If it was just more of a quote-unquote blind shot to hit anything within the Kremlin grounds, we are 6 days away from Victory Day, evident by all the decorations on Red Square. We are in Victory Week. I think this is more just a humiliating gesture on the part of the Ukrainians to say, this is what we can do. We can hit the center of Moscow. I think it's more for the propaganda aspect, propaganda than a actual serious assassination attempt. That's just kind of my quick take on it. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll be paying close attention to this, but this is fresh. The news has just broken in the past couple hours, so this is just my quick fire takes on it. So I will see you guys on this in the near future, I am sure.